So this game is really good, and even though I just did a challenge not too long ago, I wanted to do another one. The last challenge I did was actually kind of easy, except for carry armor, so this time I bumped up the difficulty a bit. The rules for this challenge are as follows. 1. I cannot use any materia whatsoever. I cannot even add materia for the stat boosts alone. Any armor or weapon I have equipped must be empty and without a single materia. There are a couple exceptions to this, such as at the very beginning of the game where Cloud has ice and lightning materia equipped, and access to the materia tab in the menu hasn't been unlocked yet. In cases such as those, I simply cannot interact with the magic tab in battle and just pretend like they aren't there. The second rule is that there are no random encounters. Basically, any experience I get must come from unavoidable encounters, such as bosses or enemies like the Shinra guys in the Shinra HQ that drop the key card. This rule is very easy to never break because I have the 7th Heaven mod launcher installed, and it comes with the feature to turn off random encounters by pressing Ctrl B. I turn random encounters on one single time for one single purpose, but it isn't to get experience or anything. I'll let you guess what it's for. And that's it for the rules of this run. They may not sound like much on their own, but combined they provide quite a challenging experience. Recovery is solely dependent on items such as high potions. You can only do basic attacks and limit breaks, and without random encounters, it's impossible to simply outlevel any troublesome bosses. That being said, I actually had a ton of fun with this challenge, and whenever I defeated a boss, I truly felt a sense of accomplishment. So without further ado, let's begin the run. It starts immediately with an unavoidable encounter against 2 guards who pose no problem. Another great thing about the 7th Heaven mod is that you can turn up the game speed. I run around at 3 times game speed most of the time because it's fast but still controllable, so you'll be seeing that sometimes. I always put it back to 1x for bosses and most encounters though. There are no more encounters until we reach the first boss, Guard Scorpion. Usually you'd use Bolt with Cloud to speed up the fight, but we aren't allowed to, so we have to rely on attacks and the occasional limit break. It makes the fight take slightly longer, but this boss isn't difficult by any means and goes down without much problem. I choose not to fight these Shinra guys, and only now am I realizing I missed out on some valuable experience for Cloud by doing so. Oh well. There's quite a lot of cutscenes in this game, and the speed up helps get through them quickly on repeat playthroughs. I definitely wish I realized I could do this when I did my Yuffie only run. Being able to speed through cutscenes like this also makes me more excited for potential future challenge runs as well. Anyway, we speed through the next few sections, acquiring Tifa, breaking into the second reactor, and eventually fighting against Airbuster. He can be a little dangerous, but after some back attacks and limit breaks, he goes down without much problem. We meet Aerith and intentionally push the wrong barrels, but this wasn't to give her extra experience, since I won't be using her all that much. No, it was simply to drop her affection points because I wanted to see the Yuffie date after failing to get into my last video. A lot of running around later, we turned Cloud beautiful. I actually made a small mistake during this section where I purchased a bunch of potions, and then didn't have enough money for food or the item in the vending machine and had to resell some potions. Either way, we get Cloud to be the victor in the end. I could have made it so Cloud lost and then fought 2 battles to give him a bit more experience, but decided against it as I thought the fights might be a little challenging for Cloud on his own, because before recording this run I actually attempted a level 1 challenge run, lost the selection, and died to those gooners. Either way, after trying to make Cloud kiss the dawn, we fight Apps. Aerith's limit break helps keep us alive and we beat this boss to death. We run through this train yard area. Usually I'd want to steal a striking staff here for Aerith, but we A, can't use the steel materia, and B, don't have random encounters. There are many times in this run I thought, oh, I can get that item soon, only to remember the challenge I'm doing and become sad. We run up the stairs and fight Reno. He isn't very tough. We break his pyramids and load some limit breaks on him and he goes down. Another handy thing about the 7th Heaven mod launcher is that it allows you to skip FMVs, speeding up the game even more. I tell ya, I don't think I'll ever replay the game again without 7th Heaven because it just makes it so convenient. After some scenes, we head back to the market, climb up some wires, and enter Shinra HQ. I decide to break into it so we can get some forced encounters on the elevator for some experience. After that, we just run through Shinra HQ as normal, and there are no encounters until we free Red 13 from Hojo's clutches. I decide Barret will fight with us, not only because this boss is in the back row and Tifa wouldn't do good damage to it, but also because I potentially want to use Barret for the whole game because of his ability to be in the back row while dealing good damage. Also, Tifa gets a -2 affection if you make her watch over Aerith. Red 13 comes with the Fire Materia that would usually be a good idea to cast on the boss, but unfortunately we can't use it, so this boss takes a bit longer than usual and is quite dangerous. I have Cloud on potion duty whenever needed since he isn't dealing great damage to the boss anyway, and eventually the boss goes down. We get captured by the Turks. I spam kinda hard to Tifa to lower her affection, and after some disturbing scenes we fight the boss in the elevator. This boss is a little annoying. Since it's on a different elevator, Aerith and Red 13 can't reach it with their melee attacks, and our only option is for Bear to whittle the bosses down. Boy, that no materia rule sure is hitting here. Though, limit breaks don't care about the rules, so whenever Red 13 happens to get a limit break, he can pitch in too and hit the boss. After a long and arduous battle, the mechanical bosses go down. Time to fight Rufus and his dog. I accidentally made Cloud hit himself because the dog was attacking him, and I thought the target marker was on the dog when I clicked right once, but it was in fact on Cloud, and can I just say, I love this game, right? But the targeting system is borderline dog shit sometimes. Anyway, due to this error, we die, and have to redo the elevator boss fight, which was long as hell. So I turned the game speed up to make it faster, which also made me almost die completely. I slow back down and miraculously recover, and the boss goes down again. I fight Rufus once more, making sure to keep my health up, kill the dog, and then defeat Rufus with some limit breaks. He fires his shotgun pretty often, so I basically had to just heal every turn unless I had a limit break. I could get in an occasional attack if I felt cheeky sometimes though. After he goes down, it's time for the motorcycle scene. I try to speed up this part, which makes it uncontrollable and everyone's health gets real low. Luckily some potions fix this and we start attacking Motorball in earnest. Aerith's limit break helps us stay healthy and fills up quick due to Motorball's fire attacks, and we whittle him down until he is defeated. When I attempted a level 1 challenge, my run died here because I was ill prepared for him, potionless, and Aerith was one-shotted by rolling fire every time, so I couldn't even use her limit break effectively. So after finally defeating him now, I felt so happy. Screw you, Motorball. And with that, we are out of Midgar. The speed up function helps greatly with getting through the long-ass Sephiroth cutscenes, but we run into quite the conundrum. Since we can't use Materia, we can't use Chocobo Lure, and since we can't use Chocobo Lure, we have to make it past this marsh without the use of a Chocobo. This is possible, of course. After some failed attempts, I finally nail it. Run into this wall when the Zolom is on the other side of the marsh. He'll make a beeline for Cloud, and then bounce off this wall. When he does, run behind him. If you move to the left while running behind him, he will move to the left as well. So you send him into this area, then immediately turn right and run to safety. I made it just in time. I almost had a freaking heart attack. We collect some treasure and make it through the Mithril mines. I go to collect Yuffie only to realize I'd need to turn random encounters on in order to get her. So this is the one single time I turn them on. I don't fight any of the encounters I see before getting her and actually get her quickly on my third attempt. I considered skipping getting her, but without her I think this run would have been a little more annoying. And with this we have the party we'll use for the rest of the game. I considered replacing Barrett with Vincent eventually, but for reasons we'll see later I decided to keep Barrett around. The reason I chose this party is because Barrett and Yuffie have long-range weapons, which means they can fight from the back row, which reduces their physical damage taken. This is important because without random encounters for experience, they are under-leveled for the entire game and quite squishy if they were in the front row. And since I can't use the long-range Materia on anyone, these two become obvious candidates for my endgame party. Also, Yuffie's ultimate weapon is super good, and since it scales with the enemy's level, she'll be pretty strong in the endgame. Yuffie also has a unique area, the Wutai Pagoda, where she fights some bosses solo, which will provide her some extra experience. We enter Junon and make our way to Bottom's Well. This boss was kind of annoying. First of all, Cloud can't even hit the boss because it's flying. Secondly, the boss uses a bubble attack which drains the affected party member's health and makes them unable to do anything. The bubble can be destroyed, but only with magic. So in this case, they cannot be destroyed as we cannot use magic. The only option, therefore, is to wait until the bubble kills a party member and then revive them, or keep them alive with potions. The boss will eventually bubble 2 party members as well. The first attempt ends when Cloud and Barrett die, and I ult F4 because I had no Phoenix Downs. I could have just soloed with Yuffie. I don't think the boss will bubble Yuffie the last party member alive, as it never bubbled Yuffie during my solo run, but if I soloed the boss with Yuffie, Cloud and Barrett would miss out on vital experience. I refuse to let that happen, so I buy some Phoenix Downs and try again. It's a struggle to keep everyone healthy and alive, and I give up again when Yuffie is at low health and Cloud and Barrett are dead. The next attempt goes well at first, but then the boss decides to keep bubbling Yuffie the millisecond I revive her, and I give up again and try again. The next attempt goes quite well. I decide to keep track of the boss's remaining HP with a calculator app, and get good RNG where Barrett is dead and Cloud is bubbled, so I just hit the boss with Yuffie, and keep Cloud alive with potions. Once the boss is nearly dead, I revive Barrett and finish it off quickly. After that, we go through the Shinra Parade segment, collect some goodies including a new sword for Cloud, and stow away on the boat. The fight with Jenova goes very poorly. I have Cloud and Barrett in the front row because I bought a melee weapon for Barrett, and Jenova just shreds them into dust. The next attempt I give Barrett a ranged weapon and move him and Cloud into the back row. From this point on, I basically keep Cloud in the back row for the remainder of the game. This makes him deal less damage, yes, but his limit breaks still deal full damage from the back row, which is nice. For this run, I have Cloud as my support role mostly. Since Yuffie and Barrett will be dealing the bulk of the damage, I have Cloud mostly focused on keeping everyone healthy with potions and such. With this strategy in place, the fight against Jenova goes much better and we defeat it in no time. We collect some goodies in Costa del Sol and head to Mount Corel. Mount Corel is a bit lonely without encounters, but there is one forced encounter we can get by stealing Phoenix Downs from the chickens. Sorry, little ones. I stock up on potions at North Corel, forgetting that I have to spend 3,000 gil to get in the gold saucer. For some odd reason, it seems skipping the FMBs to get here bugged the game out and I couldn't leave, so I have to restart the game and go through Mount Corel again. We choose Yuffie, meet Kate Sith, and go to the prison. Without encounters, there isn't much to do here besides head over to Dyne. I foolishly try to use my limit break instead of healing and Dyne kills Barret. The next attempt doesn't go very well either and Dyne's fast attacks bring Barret down once again. For the next attempt, I play it very safe and make sure to heal up to a comfortable level before using any attacks, but Dyne uses a powerful attack and defeats Barret once again. The next attempt we played even safer, and finally take down Dyne. Phew! When I did the solo Yuffie challenge, I just had Barret use a right arm I stole from some bombs to defeat Dyne, but I didn't have that luxury this time, and this battle was a nail biter, which I found quite fun. We do the Chocobo race on our second try because I am bad, and I decide to return to the previous continent for a short trip to Calm. The reason for this is because there are 2 NPCs you can talk to that will increase Yuffie's affection, and reduce the affection of Tifa, Aerith, or Barret depending on who's in your party. But first I have to find a way to cross the marsh in this direction. I found out by way of googling that you can cheese this pretty easily. Basically, you just run straight into the marsh and go into the menu before the Zolom reaches you, then save and reload. When you load back in, the Zolom will be elsewhere and you can continue running. If you're lucky, you only have to reload once. I put Aerith in the party and we head to Calm to talk to the NPCs and give the answer that increases Yuffie's affection by 1 point while decreasing Aerith's affection by 2 points. I wasn't concerned about Barret or Tifa outscoring Yuffie, so that's why I chose Aerith, who starts at a whopping 50 affection points on a new game. I traverse the marsh again, just barely making it, and head over to Gongaga. 2 reasons I'm here. The first is to get some experience from the Turks. They're quite dangerous and I wail on Reno for a while before discovering Rude can heal him. Yuffie dies, I revive her, and she immediately dies again and I reset in frustration. I forgot to save after crossing the marsh, so I have to cross it again. Then I save in front of Gongaga and fight the Turks again. For the next attempt, I decide to go after Rude, since Reno can't heal Rude, but the Turks are quite powerful and pummel my party to death. The third attempt arrives and I play it safe with Cloud on strict potion duty, only sparing a moment to do his limit break, which stuns quite fortunately, and they go down. I exit Gongaga, put Aerith and Tifa in my party, and visit Zack's house. I then ignore Aerith and Tifa and leave Gongaga, which reduces their affection. That was the second reason I came here. After that, it's off to Cosmo Canyon. I run around grabbing some goodies, including some more potions, talk to Bugenhagen, sit at a campfire, and enter the Cave of the Gi. We're forced to take Red 13, so I bring along Yuffie over Barret. I take Yuffie over Barret whenever something like this comes up for 2 reasons. First of all, she's currently stronger than Barret, and I want her to remain strong since she'll probably be doing the most damage in the endgame with her amazingly good ultimate weapon, so she gets the extra experience. Sorry, Barret. And secondly, her level 2 limit break requires less kills to acquire than Barret's, and since we only have limited encounters, I want to maximize the chance of her getting at least her level 2 limit break by the end of the game. Does this happen? Stay tuned. We break the rock in the wrong holes intentionally to get some forced encounters, which are quite dangerous, especially since they cast a death sentence on us, but we just Phoenix down anyone unfortunate enough to run out the timer and take them down. We collect some more goodies and fight the big spider fellers. These guys were scary as hell when I did the Yuffie only run, and they're still quite dangerous, but simply having other party members to heal everyone up is quite nice, and the spiders go down after some attacks and limit breaks. This boss is pretty intimidating, but unfortunately for him, he's also undead, so we throw an X potion on him, killing him instantly. We watch an emotional scene with Red 13, sped up this time, and then head over to Nibelheim. We collect some goodies, and then crack open the safe and fight Lost Number. At this point, I still wanted to replace Barret with Vincent, which was another reason I took Yuffie into the cave instead of him, but this boss, he was not going to allow that to happen. Vincent would have been quite handy too. His ultimate weapon would have been better than Barret's, and his level 2 limit break requires even fewer kills than Yuffie's to acquire. But Lost Number was a son of a bitch. The way this boss works is that if you hit it with physical attacks, when it reaches 50% health, it will change into his physical form. This form is dangerous, the attacks it deals can outright one-shot you, and on top of that, it gains resistance to physical attacks, which is all we can do to it. What a prick. I run around some shops for a while and look for one with throwable items, eventually finding Molotovs in Costa del Sol. These supposedly do fire elemental damage, so my genius plan was to use Molotovs to damage the boss until it reached 50% health, hoping that would put the boss into its magical form, which won't resist physical attacks and is far less dangerous. I buy way too many and become broke, so I go fight Lost Number and throw 6 Molotovs at it to see the average damage it might do, in order to calculate how many I'll need, total. I buy one more than I calculate I'll need just in case, and then actually head over to the other continent real quick. There's a dude in this cave, and if you've fought an even number of battles with a matching number, such as 22 or 44, he'll give you a bolt ring, which would come in handy for Lost Number's lightning attacks. Unfortunately, I'm a bit off and we can't get it now. I head back to Lost Number and throw Molotovs at it. I thought my plan was foolproof, but I guess throwable items, even if they do elemental damage or physical attacks? God damn it. Lost Number enters its physical form and wipes the floor with us again. Not one to give up, I try once more. This time I give everyone a tranquilizer to inflict them with the sadness status effect. This causes limit breaks to charge slower, but it also gives a whopping 30% damage reduction to those affected. Tranquilizers are kind of the MVP in this run. You'll see me using them a lot in this run. However, even with tranquilizers, the physical form is too oppressive and we wipe. I try one more time, trying to play as safe as possible, but it's not enough and we get wiped again. At this point, I say fuck it. Goodbye, Vincent. Barrett is now a permanent member of my party. We head up Mount Ebel, grab a couple goodies, and fight the Materia Keeper. I was concerned about Trine doing a lot of damage, and well, I was right to be concerned. It instantly kills Cloud and Yuffie, and I nearly recover from it, but it uses Trine again, and shortly after the party is wiped. The next attempt, I make sure Cloud is constantly topping everyone off, and occasionally even making Yuffie and Barrett pitch in to keep everyone healthy. It was also quite helpful that Cross Slash was stunning the boss, which allowed for a little breathing time to heal up, and the boss goes down. We head over to Rocket Town, get the Yoshiyuki, meet Sid, watch some scenes, and fight Palmer. Compared to the Materia Keeper, he was a piece of cake. Pop a high potion anytime he hits someone and will him down. The tiny Bronco is now ours. Before heading to Wutai, I decided to run a test. I head over to the Sleeping Dude again who gives a bolt ring, and then head over to the Zolom nearby and run away from it. I then head to the Sleeping Dude again to see if the counter went up even though I ran away, and much to my pleasant surprise it did. I then run away from the Zolom a few more times and acquire the bolt ring, which I use on certain dangerous bosses. I head over to Bone Village, buy some diamond bangles, and head to Wutai. Yuffie steals our Materia, of which I didn't have much actually, because I've been selling it off since it's useless to me and I was hurting for Gil. And I decide to use Red 13 because we'll be getting him his one and only ranged weapon quite soon. We fight the Shinra dudes, enter Wutai, go through the secret entrances. This one gives us the magic shuriken, a very nice weapon for Yuffie that I think I had equipped on her until she got her ultimate weapon if I'm not mistaken. It is that good. And this secret entrance gives us the hairpin, Red 13's one and only ranged weapon. It's not amazing, but it's better than using a melee weapon from the back row. We chase Yuffie for a while, and then I make sure Barrett's limit break is charged up on this encounter, and we head over to Don Corneo. I blast Raps with Mind Blow at the start of the battle, even though I managed to get an arrow 3 off on Cloud before I could, damn it, which depletes its MP so it can't use it again. Revive Cloud and beat Raps to death. I head over to the pagoda to challenge it. The first boss goes down without too much trouble, but the second boss has an attack that is quite powerful and we die. I give Yuffie sadness and try again. It went much better this time, and we win. However, the next boss was virtually impossible. It doesn't do anything until you reach 50% of its health, at which point it starts using Absorb. It absorbs more than I can damage it, so only a lucky crit or limit break can outdamage the Absorb. But I also have to spend a turn or two sometimes healing up, at which point I'm not damaging it. I try to mitigate how much it can absorb by giving Yuffie sadness once again, but even then it still absorbs a large chunk of the damage I give to it, and eventually it kills me. I attempted this multiple times. I got close once when I got several lucky crits, including a lucky crit with a limit break, but then I couldn't get another lucky crit and it started regaining back too much health to keep up with. The only reason I really wanted to do the pagoda right now is because on the page for the date mechanics it says Yuffie gets a +10 when you complete the Wutai quest. I don't know if just rescuing her from Don Cornea was the end, or if the pagoda is also part of it. So I wanted to complete the pagoda because the gold saucer is our next destination. But I figured even if I didn't get the +10 that maybe I had reduced Aerith and Tifa enough to make Yuffie win anyway. So I head to the gold saucer without completing the pagoda. Lucky for me, Yuffie was indeed the victor. We do the silly play together and go on the gondola ride. She gives Cloud a little smooch on the cheek and Cloud goes silent, embarrassing Yuffie, who proclaims say something, and Cloud indeed says something. Oh Cloud, you sure are a funny fella. Anyway, we witness the betrayal of Cait Sith, that piece of garbage, and then we head over to the Temple of the Ancients where we are forced to use Aerith. I take Yuffie along as well, and we head through the dungeon as normal. I actually perfectly go under the boulders this time, unlike my embarrassing attempt in my last video. Once we make it to the clock room, I grab Aerith's ultimate weapon, the ribbon, and attempt to fall down to where their nail bat is located, only for the force encounter down here to be a nasty surrounded on both sides encounter, which kills my party extremely fast. I say screw the nail bat and simply go into the other rooms that have encounters in them. These eyeball fellas are dangerous, but I actually managed to defeat them. However, right before I kill it, it kills Cloud, and I didn't get the chance to revive him, and he misses out on the experience. I cannot stand for this, and I reset the game. I do the other encounter first to make the eyeball slime fiends a little easier after hopefully getting a level up. It goes well, and then we fight the nasty eyeball slime fiends again, and they thankfully go down with everyone alive, though they were still very dangerous. Afterwards, we go to the puzzle room, watch some cutscenes, and fight the red dragon. Aerith's limit break helps keep everyone healthy, but she's also quite squishy. I give Cloud the fire ring I got in Costa del Sol earlier, which prevents him from taking damage from the boss's fire breath, some attacks, potions, potions and limit breaks later, and the boss thankfully goes down. Now for a boss I'm actually scared of, the Demon's Gate. This asshole does huge damage, and was trouble for me in my Yuffie solo video, where I was a higher level than I am now and even had the big guard enemy skill, so I knew going in that he was going to be trouble. So on the very first attempt I already decided to give everyone sadness. The boss can petrify you, and I definitely wanted Cloud to have the ribbon. I discovered that if you take off the ribbon, you can give a party member sadness, then pop the ribbon back on them. They'll keep the sadness but won't gain any new status effects. Handy. The first attempt went sort of well, but then things got out of control when Yuffie died and I had trouble recovering in time. It didn't help that sadness was no longer on Yuffie when she got revived. The next attempt goes better. Yuffie dies again, but I manage to recover thanks to Aerith's limit break, and I simply reapply sadness to Yuffie with a tranquilizer. I focus on keeping everyone healthy with Aerith and Cloud, while Yuffie pummels the boss and it goes down. Some story cutscenes later, we wake up and go gaga and head over to Bone Village. We acquire the Lunar Harp and an elixir. Apparently if you stand at the position where the top of Cloud's head is touching the nose of this plane, you have a 1 in 7 chance of finding an elixir. You can use this to farm a bunch of elixirs. I was impatient though and didn't even bother waiting to get a second elixir from this spot and moved on. We run through these areas collecting goodies such as the water ring and witness Aerith's death once more. Yep, it still makes me sad. I gave Cloud the water ring, making him invincible since this version of Jenova only does water attacks, and I just speed up the game speed until Jenova is out of MP, at which point I revive Yuffie and Barret and wail on Jenova until it's defeated. With that, Disc 1 is complete. We head through this cave and over to Icicle Inn. We collect some goodies, dodge Elena's punch, and get the snowboard. I still suck at snowboarding, but I actually get a better time than I got on my last run by like 20 seconds or something. Nice. We run around the snowy area grabbing some goodies. In this cave, you can actually get as many elixirs as you want. If you grab the elixir, then walk out of the cave without closing the text box, you still get an elixir, but the item will still be on the ground when you re-enter the cave. I do this to get a few elixirs before accidentally closing the text box, and now my source of elixirs is gone. Oh well, it felt a bit cheap anyway. We touch the water and fight the snow enemy, which is a nice forced encounter we can get here. Time to climb the Gaia's cliffs. We run around, grab the second ribbon, and fight these icicles. They take a while to go down since we have to kill all the bats. I ran a test, and if you just kill the icicle, the battle ends, but you get less experience than if you also kill all the bats. So to not waste any potential experience, we kill the bats before defeating the icicle. The bats are tricky little buggers, but we defeat them regardless. We run through the cave and face off against the next boss. This boss does elemental attacks, specifically fire, ice, earth, and lightning whenever one of the heads dies as final attack. We can't do anything about the earth attack, but we can do something about the other attacks. In our possession, we have the Aurora Armlet, Fire Ring, Dragon Armlet, Fire Armlet, Bolt Armlet, and Bolt Ring. I give Cloud the Aurora Armlet and Fire Ring, protecting him from both fire and ice attacks. I give Barret the Fire Armlet and Bolt Ring, protecting him from fire and the final attack each head does. I give Yuffie the Dragon Armlet, which has the damage she'll take from fire, ice, and lightning. If I had an ice ring, that would have been handy to give to Yuffie or Barret, but unfortunately I don't. You can buy them in Medeal, which I don't believe I could reach, or I could have gotten one from the stupid asshole at the pagoda I couldn't get past. Damn it. So close yet so far. Sometimes we get lucky and the boss will attack the right person, sometimes it hits Barret with ice, hurting him greatly. The attempt goes alright, but then I Alt F4 and retry after witnessing Yuffie die, get revived, and then immediately get killed again. I really wish bosses couldn't target people that have literally just been revived. It is endlessly frustrating. Anyway, I figure since Yuffie is my primary damage dealer, she should usually be alive, so I swap some equipment around, giving Yuffie the Fire Armlet and Bolt Ring, and give Barret the Dragon Armlet and a Talisman to hopefully mitigate some damage. I wanted to give everyone Sadness, only to sadly discover I have a mere single Tranquilizer, which I give to Barret. Sadness helps Barret greatly, and this attempt goes much better. First head dies, wiping out Barret and Cloud. It did a lot of damage to Cloud, which concerned me. I managed to somehow recover, and thankfully the boss runs out of MP, and with everyone at full health, Cloud just barely survives the second head's final attack, and everyone gets experience. That boss was quite troublesome. Another thing that kept haunting me besides the heads using breath on people who couldn't resist it was the earth attack. It did a lot of damage and was an AoE. Nasty, nasty stuff. Anyway, we move on to the next area where we're forced to use Tifa. So, these windy valleys, right? If you fail running past them, you get an encounter, right? So technically, I could farm here for a while by intentionally failing. However, I felt that since this was a repeatable encounter, I would not allow it. And so if I ever failed to run through the wall, I had to reset the game, and I didn't allow myself to fight this encounter. We then fight the next fight against Jenova. This Jenova does only fire attacks, so I give Cloud the Fire Ring and Yuffie the Fire Armlet, making them invincible. I decide I don't really care if Tifa dies, but she actually stays alive for quite some time luckily, dealing some good damage. Eventually though, she dies and I just wail on Jenova with Yuffie and Cloud until it dies. Sorry Tifa. We watch a bunch of cutscenes and eventually wake up as Tifa. We run around a bit, fight some guys with Barret and Cait Sith, get Yuffie back, and head to the Highwind. For some reason the FMVs with Sapphire Weapon are unskippable. I wasn't too bothered since it is really cool though. We escape our bindings as Tifa, slap that bitch Scarlet up, and now we have the Highwind. I grab some goodies in Cosmo Canyon and Rocket Town, head to Midgar to find Cloud wheelchair bound, and then head over to the Coral Reactor. Without access to laser and magic breath, these enemies take quite some time to take down. My heart actually starts pumping here. It was quite the thrill. With only a minute to spare, we stop the train, get the huge Materia, and make our way to Fort Condor. No need to place any units down, we just let the enemy reach us, fight this one encounter, witness the birth of a beautiful chicken, and acquire the huge Materia. We head back to Midgar and fight Ultimate Weapon. The bastard kills Cid and Yuffie before scurrying away. Thankfully, this encounter doesn't provide any experience anyway, so I don't really mind that Yuffie died and just move on. Tifa and Cloud get sucked into the live stream and Tifa helps Cloud regain his true self. Hooray! The speed up function really allowed me to get through this section swiftly. I decide I'm probably powerful enough to finish up the pagoda, and so I take Yuffie over there and clean them out. Yuffie's father is kind of annoying because he casts Cure on himself when his health gets low, and Yuffie just isn't doing enough damage to him. However, I come up with a nice strategy. I unequip the ribbon, give Yuffie Fury, which increases the rate at which she gets limit breaks, which outdamage her father's healing, then re-equip the ribbon to deal with the status effects he inflicts, and equip the bolt armlet, which absorbs lightning damage. Yuffie's father uses Trine, which basically heals Yuffie all the way up. So I just pray he uses it enough to keep Yuffie healthy, set the game speed up a bit, and spam the confirm button. Yuffie attacks every turn, uses limit break the second it appears, and gets healed from Trine. This strategy failed once, but worked on the next attempt. Get owned. With that, Yuffie now has a bit more experience, as well as all creation, which we have absolutely zero chance of being able to unlock in this run. Oh well. We head over to the underwater reactor, where some beautiful force encounters await us, and then fight Carry Armor. This prick caused me the most trouble on my solo Yuffie run, because Lapis Laser does huge damage and the arm grab was an instant game over on a solo run. I make sure to save right before fighting him and take him on. Lapis Laser is still quite dangerous, as was Arm Grab. The combination of both of these things caused our demise. The next attempt I make sure everyone has sadness once again, this helped immensely. If anyone ever died, I also made sure to give them sadness upon reviving them. I decided to destroy Carry Armor's arms first. I probably could have just done a Hail Mary and tried to kill it outright, but the arms have less health and being down a whole party member was annoying. It was also annoying trying to target the correct arm when they were spinning. Somehow we manage it and Carry Armor is now armless. Doesn't he look so pathetic? I was full of glee at seeing his sorry state. We then beat him to death. We collect some goodies, fight the Shinra dudes on the submarine, and even kill the ones you can take hostage. I believe these fellas are the same fellas Cloud hung out with when he was sneaking around Junon, and killing them kinda made me feel bad, but I need every drop of experience. Anyway, we do the easy peasy submarine minigame, run into Junon to view the mandatory cutscene, grab the huge materia from the sunken submarine, grab the keystone, and enter the sunken plane. With encounters off, this place, which is usually extremely dangerous, is now just free treasure. We get Yuffie's ultimate weapon, Conformer, and even a nice new weapon for Cloud. We fight the Turks for some experience, and we can witness Yuffie doing over 4 times the damage Barret is doing. Good lord. And the crit damage, Jesus. Yuffie basically single-handedly takes the Turks down while Barret and Cloud make sure to top everyone's health off. We leave the sunken plane, get jump-scared by Emerald Weapon, and then make our way back to Nibelheim. I want revenge. We destroy Lost Number and acquire Vincent, who I would be sad if we didn't have in our party. He was actually the same level as Barret, and I considered using him anyway, but decided to keep Barret since Barret might get his level 2 limit break still, whereas I figured there was no chance Vincent would get his. I also hadn't bothered looking up the special mechanics behind Barret's ultimate weapon at this point. If I had, I might have picked someone else other than Barret. Oh well, more on that later. We head to Rocket Town, fight some forced encounters, including one against Rude again, and then grab the large materia and get into the escape pod. With that, we head over to Bugenhagen, watch some scenes, and then make our way to the Forgotten Capital. We watch some more scenes and gasp, Diamond Weapon is approaching Midgar. This freaking guy, he's invincible to physical attacks unless he's doing his countdown. I even grabbed some S-mines to see if they would work. They didn't. I did have a single Swift Bolt item though, that was nice. Luckily, limit breaks still did damage, so we just heal up, use limit breaks as we get them, and then attack whenever he does his countdown. Diamond Weapon isn't too tough and we take him down, rewarding us with holy buttloads of experience. We skydive into Midgar, run around grabbing some goodies, and face off against the Turks one last time. These guys are super dangerous. The plan was to try and kill them all around the same time to get as much experience as possible, but it just wasn't worth it. After 2 wipes, I decide to just unleash all hell on Elena, and once her health is depleted, the Turks all leave together. I run around the tunnels and grab some goodies. I run into Shinra HQ and grab some goodies, and then it's time to fight Proud Claude. This boss is actually pretty easy. We destroy the armor first for the extra experience, and then beat on Proud Claude until it's defeated, making sure to heal up when necessary. We run up the stairs and acquire acquire Barret's ultimate weapon, and only at this point do I bother googling what it actually does. Basically, it deals more damage the more AP is on the materia in its materia slots. If you have a lot of AP, it can easily deal 9,999 damage, but since I cannot put materia on it, it would be practically useless. I don't even know if it would do a single point of damage, to be honest. You need like 150,000 AP to make it better than the max ray, which I acquired right before the Turks, so yeah, we'll be keeping the max ray on. I'm not sure if Vincent would have been a better choice since his ultimate weapon does more damage based on how many enemies he's killed. He wouldn't have got to kill many at all by the time I got him. Anyway, that's unfortunate. Sid might have actually done more damage from the back row than Barret because his ultimate weapon does more damage the more filled his MP is. And of course I can't use MP, so Sid would always be doing max potential damage. Oh well, I never bothered to test it out and just keep Barret around anyway in hopes that he would get his level 2 limit break on Hojo. It was pretty much the last chance before we go to the end of the game. We take on Hojo and defeat him. The last phase was kind of annoying because he decided to constantly attack Yuffie and make her fall asleep, but eventually we take him down. Barret unfortunately didn't get his level 2 limit break, but Yuffie did! I'm pretty sure it's an earth attack or something and might not work on safer Sephiroth, but I have a plan. Before we can execute that plan, we watch some story cutscenes and end up at the northern cave. I explore the cave, split everyone up in a specific way that causes Tifa to provide us with a misstyle, perhaps the best armor in the game due to its high dodge rates. We also got one before heading up the stairs to Hojo. We scour the entire northern caves, ravaging all the chests, and then leave. Time to fight ultimate weapon. I hatch a brilliant strategy to give Yuffie Bloodfest her second level 2 limit break, which is unlocked by using Landscaper 7 times. The strategy, give her Fury, then chase ultimate weapon around, don't do much damage to him, and hope he does damage to Yuffie so that I can use her limit break. The plan works of course, but also every time ultimate weapon flies off, he vanishes from my sight. It was a pain in the ass to track him down. I don't know if I just got lucky during my first playthrough, but every time he ran away, he was always immediately nearby and I could ram into him a few times and make him fly to the next destination. But for whatever reason, he just vanishes during this playthrough and I have to fly around the entire world searching for him. It wouldn't have been such a big deal if I hadn't desperately wanted Yuffie's second level 2 limit break before fighting the last few encounters in the northern cave, but I didn't want to hurt him too much and so I flew around looking for him and slowly acquiring Yuffie's limit breaks for about a full hour. I could hardly keep my eyes open. But eventually we get Bloodfest, beat the crap out of Ultimate Weapon, and he lands by Cosmo Canyon for the final battle. I give Yuffie the Reflectorine, which we acquired a while back from the Genova that did fire attacks, because Ultimate Weapon does a huge powerful attack, Shadow Flare, on whoever kills him as his final attack before dying, and it can be reflected. And with that, we acquire Cloud's Ultimate Weapon and have Yuffie's second level 2 limit break. Time to finish this. We fight some dangerous enemies on the way to the final Genova fight, like this Iron Giant dude and whatever these nasty things are called. Yuffie shreds through them, and Cloud is also doing quite impressive damage from the back row with his ultimate weapon. We make it to Genova and take it on. No need to bother attacking the tentacles, and we just focus on the main body. Limit breaks do quite good damage here, and once the countdown begins, we wail on Genova and defeat it once and for all. Some cutscenes later, it's time for Bizarro Sephiroth. This boss is pretty easy, especially when you meet the requirements to have only one party set for this fight. We destroy the right arm, then the left, then the core, and then the main body. A Mega Elixir helps save us when the boss uses Heartless Angel, and limit breaks deal big damage. Time for safer Sephiroth. In a typical playthrough, this guy isn't that tough. Even in my solo Yuffie run, he wasn't tough since I had access to regen and big guard. But here, where we're under-leveled and materialists, he's no joke. He does huge damage, and he can even outright one-shot you with attacks like Shadow Flare. Thankfully, we have some elixirs to help. When Sephiroth does Supernova, we can speed it up thanks to 7th Heaven. Thank goodness this animation is awesome, but boy, is it long. Cloud actually does quite impressive damage. Yuffie of course is our main damage dealer though, dealing a whopping 7,000 damage when Sephiroth's barrier is down. Sephiroth uses Supernova once more, giving us the chance to retaliate with limit breaks and heal up. He then foolishly uses Heartless Angel, giving Cloud and Barret yet another limit break, and Barret, even though he was doing the least damage this fight, gets the final hit on Sephiroth, defeating him. This fight was intense. I don't think I've ever felt this thrilled fighting a boss since I played the Dark Souls games. It was challenging but fair, and when I defeated a challenging boss, I felt very satisfied, which is the kind of challenge I like from my challenge runs. I don't want something that will make me want to rip my eyes out of my sockets, you know? I like something difficult but still fun, and I think that's exactly what this challenge was. I recommend it to everyone. Either way, one FMV we can skip later, and Cloud uses Omni Slash to defeat Sephiroth for real. The credits roll, and our run is truly complete. Final Fantasy VII with no materia and no random encounters. It was a fun one. Unfortunately, you turned random encounters on to get Yuffie, so you cheated. Listen, I made my own rules and I can make exceptions to my rules. My one exception was to acquire Yuffie. I'm not gonna say, oh well, we can't get an entire party member since it would violate my rules for 5 seconds. Let's not be ridiculous here. Anyway, I had a ton of fun doing this run and making this video, and I hope you had fun watching it. I'll definitely do more Final Fantasy VII challenges in the future, and probably some challenges in other FF games as well, such as the 4 Job Fiesta challenge in FF5, and maybe something in FF9 eventually. I haven't really decided yet. I'll do challenges in other games as well. I was trying to think up a fun challenge for a Fire Emblem game, for example. Either way, I hope you look forward to whatever game I decide to do a challenge run for in the future, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Sorry. Anyway, genuinely, thank you for watching. I'll see you again soon with another video. Thanks, and goodbye.